We're live there. Let's go live on Instagram. Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. What day of the week is it? It's Wednesday. We're live there. Let's go to Facebook. And hit this. Come on. There we go there. And the last button on X. All right. We are set. All right. So we'll just tell the stories. And I got your notes. And those notes were awesome. So let's do this. Oops, wait. Where did I put the notes? Here they are. All right. This is for Monday. Monday, do we have any holidays or anything? Nope. Just normal July. Monday. All right. Oh, I should probably have audition running, or else that'd be a bad show if I don't record it. I've only done this 2,800 times. What am I doing? It's been one of those days.
Every time's gonna be a little bit different.
Every time, dude. This is a Sunday night. You hear the show tomorrow, man. The phone lines didn't work for the first time like in years, and I didn't touch anything. And the phone lines could work. I don't know why. I think I fixed that after the show because I wouldn't have slept Sunday night. So I think I had my wife. She was walking on her she walks each night.
Yep.
It's 100 degrees at Sunday night too. She's like, I'm so hot. I'm like, okay, here's what I need you to do. I texted you the phone number. Call me. She's like, why? I'm like, because the phone lines didn't work during the live show. I don't want to be on the air. I'm like, you're not on the air. We're done. She's like, no, I'm not calling. I'll be on the air. I'm like, you're not gonna be on the air. We're not on the air anymore. Just call me. And I just need to test the phone line. She's like, no, because that's the phone line for the live show. I'm like, but we're off the air. Like I promise you, we're not on Facebook, YouTube, anything. So she would call and she wouldn't say anything. I'm like, but you got to talk so I can see if the levels and stuff. Like if it was a whole thing. So hopefully Sunday night will be better. I don't know. This stuff's harder than it needs to be. All right.
All the buttons you got to push to get it started. I can imagine.
I mean, I like all the buttons, right? I mean, that makes everything fun, but there's a lot of buttons to break. And
exactly.
Oh well, a lot of fun lights. Okay, here we go. 2733. Welcome to episode 2733 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great weekend and survived this heat wave here in most parts of the country, man. It has been hot here in the Midwest, but it is the middle of July, so to be expected. So remember, podcasts are very portable. You could take us to the pool, to the river, wherever you got to go, or mostly just stay inside. Listen to the show. If you got to your walking, be smart. There's these things called treadmills. You can get your steps in, but you don't have to go outside. But shout out to all the lizards. Man, you guys are crazy tough, or just downright crazy. Those of you who are getting out there and getting those miles in all this heat, I see you. I see those pictures of you guys after a 2-mile run, a 5-mile run. Some of you guys are running 13 miles. I saw Troy the other day, 22-mile run down in Florida in July. That's a beast. I mean, on purpose, he did that. And I don't think he was chasing bad guys either. I mean, it was wild. So I see you guys out there running in the heat. I just want to say, shout out to the lizards who are getting it done this summer outside with those runs. You guys are doing a great job. But today, no, we're not talking about that. We're going to talk about a cruise on the Disney Treasure. So talk about kicking back, sea breezes, one of the most beautiful itineraries, Eastern Caribbean. I mean, you could already hear it, right? Hear the ocean breezes, the waves coming in. It's going to be fun. So kick back. Here we go. We have a friend joining us from up in New Hampshire. Derek's on the show today. Derek, happy Monday. What's going on?
Thanks, Mike. Not a whole lot. Not as hot here as it is for a lot of the other lizards out there. Had a nice 50-degree run this morning, so I cannot relate to what everybody else has been suffering through for this week anyways, or at least for these couple of days, but we have our next heat wave coming. But thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about this trip.
Glad to have you, and glad to have a fellow lizard here on the show. And I'll just say, man, anybody that gets out there in this heat, I don't know.
Yeah,
Because
22 miles in Florida. Dude
did you
must have
see?
been running away from alligators or
Yeah,
something. I couldn't do that.
Troy, he's a different breed, man. He
Yeah,
runs every single day, and if he's a police officer, so he's definitely a tough man. But I saw that the other day, like and on the end, like I think he did like 22 miles. Like I didn't feel good, so I had to cut it. I had to cut it. I'm like, cut it, like in 22, like it didn't feel good. I'm like, you are the man. I'm like,
yeah,
and I
very
love
impressive.
yeah. So I just love because we have folks that just walk. I love the range of just folks and I call everybody athletes. Everybody, even if you're walking, you're an athlete. You're getting out there, you're
Yeah,
active. And when you're out there, because I'm a baby, I cannot stand the cold. Like I'm just getting old. Like I can't stand the heat. I know my basement is the exact same temperature at 5 o'clock in the morning every single day. Like, and I don't have to worry about when's the sunrise. Like it's gonna be dark. I flip the light switch.
yeah,
It's like, when I got an iPad to watch, and listen to a podcast. So anyway, let's talk about your trip. But before that, let's jump into your Disney fandom. And I know you're kind of new to all this, and I like
yeah.
that. Like, so many of our folks come in, they're like, yeah, back in 1970 or 1980, I went to, when Epcot was built. But what's your backstory?
Like you said, I'm relatively new. Me, my family, we're all relatively new to this Disney fandom. Growing up, did not live in a Disney family. We did not take Disney vacations. The couple of vacations we did take were sports related, like Baseball Hall of Fame, stuff like that. Which don't get me wrong, were great. But back then, in the 80s, 90s, I couldn't have told you the difference between a Disney park, a Universal park, any of that. A couple times in my teenage years, I went with a friend's family down to Florida. Again, like I recall going on certain rides. I couldn't have told you what parks those were in until the last couple of years when I joined these conversations and now know that confrontation was in Universal, and the big ride I remember riding through the room with the large dinosaur neck sticking over was at Epcot, and all that. So really, it's all kind of kicked off since my wife and I got married about 11 years ago. We both came in with kids from previous marriages. Back in 2015, we did a Florida trip where we kind of hit all the parks down there, and both just kind of walked away like, wow, Disney is so special. Like, not to put down, SeaWorld and Universal and all those other places we went, but we just fell in love with the theming of Disney and all that. And we knew that we were going to try and have another kid together, and we said that kid's going to grow up Disney. And when it was a girl, we're like, oh man, she's gonna she's gonna be a Disney princess for life. Um, so yeah, our next, big family trip with all of our kids. Our youngest is Alexis. She was 4 at the time, and I think I sent this to you in the email. But we had a day at Magic Kingdom where we did Bibbity Bobbity Boutique for her. She chose to dress up as Tinkerbell. Later that day, we did, we're watching the afternoon parade. She's there. This nice lady, let her and my wife kind of get up to the front so that she could see the parade better. The float comes by with Tinkerbell on it, and Tinkerbell looks and points at her and blows her a kiss. And I mean, I'm a big softie. I teared up on the spot, and the look of excitement on her face, and she didn't stop talking about that for days. Like, and at that moment, I'm like, hey, that's my Disney core memory kick right there. That's we're hooked. We're in this for life. So, that's kind of really where the jumping off point was, and been doing it ever since.
I love having these shows, especially on Mondays, because we get to know our listeners and we get to share these stories. Because Disney had that promotion going just not too long ago. Share your Disney moment, show the picture, in the commercials.
Yeah.
That's it right there. I just totally pictured it.
Yeah.
Because similar to that, Mallory was little with the Bibbity Bobbity Boutique. As a dad, like it's heart stopping when you get the bill, but you would do it. She's a senior in high school starting here next month, and
Yeah.
would I pay that again to have that moment again? 1,000 times, because it goes so fast, right? I mean, it's like it was at the time, like, oh my gosh, it was so expensive. But they had that. We were talking about this in the Discord just the other day, that campaign where it's they're only little for a little while,
Oh yeah,
kind of thing. And I mean, it was like we were all just dying in there, especially the dads that have little girls. But yeah, I just my moment with that was Mallory picked Jasmine. when she was in there, right? And then later on, Pam told me, I was like, "Why'd you pick Jasmine?" Like I didn't know Jasmine. I feel like her Paige's favorite princess was Ariel.
Hmm.
She's a Little Mermaid, one of the red hair, and like always was watching the movie. And she come to find out, she's like, she wanted a belly, and she told her mom she wanted the belly shirt. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then Pam's like, oh my gosh, you got a wild one on your hand because you wanted a belly shirt. That's why she picked Jasmine. And I'm like, yes, the
Yeah.
100%. Like now that she's almost 18, the dude, it was not far. She didn't miss the mark very far back then.
Yeah.
I got a second kid. Got to be careful. But yeah, I mean, I love that though, because, that is that moment that gets you in there. Now, let me ask you this, kind of extending
Sure.
on it real quick. You go down to the park, you have the park experience, but what drew you into like going to that next level of, maybe reading blogs, listening to podcasts? Like for me, it's the logistics of the place, the 365, the 24/7, how manicured the place is all the time,
Hmm.
how the place runs. It's just, it's amazing. There's always people coming and going. I like the logistics. What's it for you besides just, the moments on Main
I
Street?
mean, I think it's the logistics, it's the theming, like flashing back to that trip I told you about in 2015, like what set Disney apart for me anyways, especially from Universal, is like walking through Universal. It felt like I was walking through warehouses that had rides in them, but it wasn't themed like Disney is. And Universal's doing their own thing with Epic. Sounds like they're making leaps and bounds, with that. Good for them. But to me, Disney's always kind of had that theming down where everything is a smooth transition. We've talked about on the show the transitions of music as you go from one land to another, the gradual transitions of um, the decorations around you that take you into that, and it's all just completely immersive. And up until that trip in 2023, where all this went down when Alexis was 4, um, I'd never stayed in the Disney bubble. My wife had never stayed in the Disney bubble, and the experience that either one of us had at the parks were staying off site, going to a park for a day, and then going to other places. And man, that Disney bubble's addictive. Like
Oh man,
there's
it's like nothing
it,
else. I mean,
it's
you do escape reality for a brief
yeah,
moment. Yeah.
and every turn it's Disney in your face, and it's in a good way, and it's all of it. It doesn't matter if you're into the original Disney, if you're into Marvel, if you're into Pixar, if whatever it is, there's something there for everybody. Um, even our second oldest, my stepson Kyle, he was 12 at the time. He didn't want anything to do with Disney because he kind of had the same impression I did when I was a kid. All I knew of Disney was Disney princesses. Like I want to go hang out with a bunch of princesses, and he gets there and man, he had the time of his life, and there's something there for him, and he's excited for our next Disney trip that we have coming up. Later this year, he was excited to go on the cruises. So um, yeah, there's just something about it that just draws you in, no matter where you look or no matter what your hook is.
Very well said. That is very well said. All right, so I gotta talk cruising.
Yeah,
I'm bitten by, I got the cruise bug bad. Dennis is joined us live. He's down in Texas. He is he's our cruise godfather over in the If you have a question about cruising, Dennis will take care of you within like 10 seconds. It's amazing. He's there.
nice.
I love Dennis. He knows all about cruising. He's an amazing gentleman, and I appreciate him so much. He's bit by the cruise bug, but Scott Gardner, I mean, I think I don't know what kind of bug bit him when we were on the match a couple weeks ago. That dude, he is always looking at cruises since we've been back, and he's booking them left and right. I'm like, Scotty G. I mean, I might have to slow him down. Like he might be Pearl by the end of 26. I don't know. Like he is going crazy. I
So
love him.
so jealous.
Oh, I'm saying. I mean, like I wish I'm like Scott. Can I just go with you because I got it's Mallory's senior year, dude. I got to stay here. There's football games to go to.
Yeah.
Like he's going on Labor Day and Thanksgiving. I'm like, I want to go with you, man. You're my like we always got to cruise together. We got the matching captain's hats and everything. Man, so he's been bitten. So I love cruising too. So we're going to talk about that. So tell us about how this trip came together because you went down and sailed the Treasure with a little time beforehand at Walt Disney World. So what was the
Mhm.
idea to get this done?
We actually sailed the Wish last year, and we did a 4-night cruise, and we chose the 4-night. Then we chose the Wish because it was the new ship. We'd never sailed on Disney Cruise Line before that. We'd both been on a couple of like Carnival cruises and whatnot, and heard Disney is top, top the line. like I said, we had gotten bitten by the Disney bug. So we're like, yeah, let's give the cruise a Disney Cruise Line a shot. We chose a 4-night because our kids had never cruised. So we didn't know how they would respond to it. And like I said, we had never been on a Disney cruise, so that was a good, kind of toe in the water. And
Right.
we enjoyed the Wish. Is the only I've heard a lot of criticisms about it, but it's the only Disney ship that we knew at the time. So when we got off of that, when we were on it, we booked our, I forget what the bounce back offer is called for
Placeholder.
them.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
placeholder.
the placeholder. And like, hey, let's give the new ship a shot. And we started planning for a week on the Treasure. We knew that the kids loved cruising, after the 4-day one. We knew we loved cruising on the Disney ship. um, my wife's pretty much instantly went like, I could be good if 75% of our trips for cruises now, and 25% parks or whatever.
Yeah. Hey, your wife has a that's good ratio for me at
Yeah,
this point in my life. Like, I mean, I could go 75-25 cruising to parks. I mean, don't at me,
yeah,
people. I'm just saying, I love the parks. I love Disneyland. I love Walt Disney World. But I mean, till you cruise a lot, cruising is so easy. And you wake up
yeah.
every morning and it's like, oh, look how beautiful it is. And then I'm just going to get off and go to a beach and then eat ribs. I mean, come
I
on. Like,
I
seriously.
will update that though. With ever since all the Disney stuff kicked in, all her like TikTok algorithms are kicking in with Disney stuff. So she's sending me all these things from the parks, like, why haven't we done this yet? Why haven't we eaten here? Why haven't we done this? I'm like, see, we got we
It's a sliding scale. I mean, yeah, it
yeah,
doesn't have to like you don't have to permanently lock in. There's a lot of stuff being announced in the next couple of
yeah.
years. We got new stuff to see. Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, I'd be a big fan of doing the land sea combo. Like, every time we go, that wouldn't break my heart any.
It's
Um,
pretty dang good though.
but yeah, so that's how we decided to go on the Treasure. I mean that, and the theming of the Treasure seemed like right up our alley. Haunted Mansion's one of my favorite rides, so the fact that we're going to do a haunted mansion bar, really really excited me. um, and all that. So we just started planning it.
All right, so let's jump into let's real quick. Let's spend like
Yeah.
5 minutes on the pre-trip. You guys stayed at movies. You went down a couple days early.
Hmm.
Good idea. Seeing this get a little. You always want to be in Orlando at least the night before because you
Yeah.
never want to come in the day of the cruise because if your flights, the ship will leave and they don't care. Like, and you'll be out of luck. So
Yep.
and it's get a couple days, go to like you said, I think you guys went to the boathouse, you did some Disney Springs. Like that's the way to do it. Like we went down, we went the night, we just came in the night before. We went to Rosa Mexicana before our cruise. Like it was perfect. There was no stress. Like
Yeah.
you got
Exactly.
in, you got to get a little taste of Disney. We didn't even go to the parks ourselves because Pam didn't have a ticket, but it was fine. Like we got a little taste and then went on our cruise and we were safe. We didn't have stress. So what would you just give us? You see boathouse and movies was any big
Yeah, we
highlights?
stayed at All Star Movies. When we were looking to book excursions, all of the ones that are animal driven, you have to be at least 7 for. So Alexis couldn't do any of those because she turned seven about 2.5 weeks after we got off the cruise. So we actually chose to do a day at Discovery Cove, which is a SeaWorld park down there. It was a lot of fun. It's one of those things I'd say is probably a one and done. It's very pricey. It's very cool. We did this ultimate animal experience where you basically get a trainer assigned for you for 4 or 5 hours, and they walk you around the park, show you behind the scenes stuff, and then you get 45 minutes hanging out with the dolphins in the lagoon. Again, very cool. Once that portion of it ended, it was very kind of blah. Customer service, was not up to par. We ran into an issue at the end of the day with our picture package we bought, and they kind of gave us a hassle for 45 minutes before we left. And um, definitely not the Disney level customer service, but and then like you said, we went that night. We went to Disney Springs, had dinner at the boathouse. It was the first time we'd eaten at the boathouse, so got those fillet sliders.
Oh,
Those things are so good. You
nice.
guys definitely have not steered us wrong there.
Good call.
um, Walked around, did a little shopping, then, went and crashed for the night, and, got ready for the cruise the next day.
Man, love that. And my brother-in-law did that experience years ago, and he did like that over Discovery Cove. That
Yeah.
and I like this because what you basically did was you made an excursion, like a
Yeah.
land-based excursion. I mean, it was almost like a port of call before the cruise. That was very smart on your behalf, on your thinking through there. I like that. Like that's well, we can't do it on the cruise, but we can make this happen for your daughter. That's super smart. So
Yeah.
so this really really interesting to me because you've been on the Wish, you're going on the Treasure, and there's only two ships you've been on in the fleet.
Yes.
Within the same class, right? You know, everything's going to be similar, other than theming. Like, you know, the track on deck 4 is the same. You know, you got Star Wars, you got Haunted Mansion, you got Periscope Pub versus Keg and Compass. You know, or Sarabi versus, I forget. You know, all the comparisons, right?
Yep.
They have different names. Hooks Barbary on both. But you I think you said earlier you preferred the overall like aesthetics of the Treasure compared to the Wish.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's more that we, you know, had more time to get used to it. I mean, I honestly felt like everything with the Wish happened so fast, and that was a Bahamas cruise, and we didn't even get off on the Nassau day, and it just felt like, you know, 4 days really wasn't enough days to get acclimated to a ship that large.
Yeah, that's true. And what the kind of along with that, like the Fantasy, I think is kind of my overall favorite ship. Like it's exactly like the Dream, but I wonder if it's because when I was on the Fantasy, I was always doing 7-night cruises compared to the Dream. I was always doing 4 or 5-nighters.
Yeah.
And I'm happier on a 7-night cruise, right? I mean, because you have more time to be on the ship. I relax way more on a 4-night or a 7-night cruise. It's just, I don't know. I think that when you're on a longer cruise, you're just happier in general. And so you're going to prefer the ship. I really agree with that thought.
Yeah. We were, you know, like I said, we were super excited to experience the Haunted Mansion bar, the Moana play that, you know, everybody was raving about. Couldn't wait to see that. You know, so just being on the Treasure gave and the Eastern Caribbean, you know, ports, you know, it's something other than the Bahamas, which, like I said, we didn't get off in Nassau. We'd both been to the Bahamas before. So ports that we'd never been to, you know, that was all really exciting for us to experience. So yeah, I mean, that's really what drove our desire to take this cruise on the Treasure.
Okay, so let's nail some of these important things people are going to ask about when they download the show. They're going to be like, okay, I hope we talk about these things. So let's talk about stateroom for a minute.
Sure.
For your family, what kind of stateroom did you have, and what are your thoughts on the staterooms?
We did a veranda because we did a veranda on the Wish, and I don't think you can ever go back once you do that.
I'm telling you, dude, I got one for my wife on her honeymoon in 2006, and can never go back. I did once, and you know,
you never heard the end of it, did you?
Dude, that virtual porthole, I tried to sell it, didn't work.
No, it was, and you know, it was great. As you know, a good amount of room for you know, a cruise ship. The 2-bathroom thing is huge. You know, when you have a party of 4 and you have you know, people, I don't have a lot of hair, so I don't need to do my hair, but everybody else in our family, you know, spent time and needed to be in one bathroom to do their hair while somebody else was showering or whatever. So the staterooms are great. Like you know, couldn't say enough about them. And then the theming and decoration there, you know, they go you know, top notch. Unlike the Wish, we on this one, where we had 7 days, we definitely took a couple mornings to where I would go get our breakfast and bring it back to the room, and we actually sat out on the veranda and, you know, enjoyed our coffee and our breakfast there and chilled, and, you know, did the same thing at night a couple of times. And I think that made it feel way more worthwhile than it did the on the Wish, because we really didn't take the time to enjoy the veranda because we were trying to check out the ship the whole time.
I agree. It's the longer cruise, and this is why I keep telling Pam we're doing Panama Canal. It's 13 nights. It's like, I can't be on a ship for 13 nights. Like, yes, you can. It'll be fine. Because I mean, she likes cruising, but she's like freaking out about the 13-night thing. I'm like, it's gonna, like, I could just live on a cruise ship. Like, that'd be fine. But she's like, I can't, you can. I'm like, just put your mind to it. You know, I'm like a coach, right? You can, it's a cruise ship, man. What are you talking about? It's the best thing in the world. But I can't, I just want to see the Panama Canal. But yeah, I can't wait. Like, oh man, I'd be so chilled by the end of that thing. I'd be just like a thing of Jello. Like, I'd be a mush. But yeah, you're so right about the 7-nighter. Okay, so that worked out well for you. Now let's talk about let's jump into entertainment. So I guess I would say 2 things that stand out about the Treasure, and you kind of mentioned one of them. Kind of the highlight, I think, was the Moana show. And I'm not even a big show guy myself. Like, I go to some shows, I skip some shows, because if you skip the shows, you get the ship to yourself. I mean, it's kind of a little hack if you're not a big show person, but I mean, the shows are awesome. So it's kind of you got to decide. But the Moana show, you cannot miss it on the Treasure.
No.
I mean, you can't.
No, they blew that out of the water.
it's unreal, dude. I mean, it's unreal. You thought the same. I loved it. I thought it was so
So it was, I mean, this kind of like taps into, next core memoy for me. My wife and Alexis, so Jen, Alexis, and I are sitting there, and Kyle said he wasn't going to go to the show. He's like, I don't really like shows, blah, blah, blah. And by this point in the cruise, because this was at the end of the cruise, he had found a whole group of teenagers that he'd been hanging out with and whatnot. And I guess they ended up going, but they sat up in the balcony. But we got in early. So the only people that were got in ahead of us were concierge guests and whatnot. So we got in there and sat in the like the second section. So there's the front seats, and then there's like the aisle, and then there's a second section like where the control panel is and all that stuff. And we sat right next to in the second row, right next to the control panel. And Alexis throughout the entire play was just belting out every song because she knows Moana, by heart. So we got a couple of looks. I don't know if this is the moment where I was like the Disney dad with the kid on their shoulders at the fireworks blocking people's views, because these older couple, this older guy kept looking back at her singing, and I couldn't tell if he was annoyed by it or not. But she was having the time of her life, and we were just letting her sing along to the songs, and she absolutely loved the play. And and I'll even say Beauty and the Beast was amazing.
yeah.
We've seen
100% agree with that, because I was like, nobody ever talked about Beauty and the Beast, and I agree, because like when I only did a 3-night preview, right, and they did Beauty and the Beast, and I'm like, nobody even said a word about this show, and I'm like, maybe it's just me because like we're the Be Our Guest podcast. I'm like, that show was awesome, but nobody like everyone's talking about Moana, and I'm like, Moana was awesome. So is Beauty and the Beast. Nobody's.
I think it's because Beauty and the Beast has been around so much. But honestly, I went in and I'm like, we seen Beauty and the Beast at Hollywood Studios. It's probably just going to be the same as that. But no, it was so much better. It was so well done. They know what they're doing on those shifts. You got to give them credit with that entertainment. It's amazing.
The thing is, like, and I never like. I think about this every once in a while. Like those actors, those folks, they're doing like one night they're like the Beast in a show. Yeah. The next night they're like Maui. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like I can't remember like where I put my shoes. Like how do they remember all these lines? And then on top of that, they're like dancing and singing, and they're doing this on a moving ship.
Yeah.
The night we came back in the Treasure, that thing was rolling and rocking, because I went to the silent disco, and we'd all go to the one side of the Sarabi, and then the ship would roll over, the whole dance floor go to the other side of Sarabi. It was wild. And like they're just doing the show like like it's just a VFW hall here in Missouri. I mean, the talent, like I think that sometimes we don't understand like how talented even like the servers are in the restaurants, right? I mean, they're carrying like a table of 12 desserts on their hand, and that ship's moving. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't like, you gotta stop and think. Like I couldn't do that through my kitchen, and they're just like smiling and high-fiving somebody with the like, I don't know. It's when I stop and think about it, I'm like, these people are amazing on these ships.
They're incredible.
Something to think about. Okay, so that's fun. Now, the other thing, did you guys, so your kids, did they take advantage of any of like you said your son did met some teens, which inevitably happens. Mallory's done that many times, like Edge Vibe. What about the kids clubs? Anything like that? Stories?
Yeah, Alexis did the Oceaneers Club. And she was a little tentative at first, but I think after a second or third time going down there, she really like connected with this other little girl, and we actually saw them up at the pool decks a couple times, and would coordinate, a little bit of them wanting to meet up down in the kids clubs and hanging out for a little bit, which was awesome. It was always nice to have that, little break and little separation when we could, and Jen and I could go do, a couple more adult things. We took time to check out all of the pubs, the Periscope pub, Skipper's Society, the Scat Cat Lounge, where I did have that I forget what it's called. I'd have to look at my note, but is the beverage with the Uncrustable on it. Oh yeah, the peanut butter whiskey with the Uncrustable on it.
So real quick, give us a rating, because I didn't get that. And man,
I would definitely give it like a 9 out of 10. It was amazing. I mean, I'm a big whiskey bourbon guy anyways. But yeah, I absolutely loved that drink. It was so good. I think I went back and got one later on in the cruise too, because I just felt like I couldn't leave without having it a second time.
Nice. Yeah.
So
thought of that.
Yeah, we took those opportunities. I will say the one thing about the lounges there, and I believe I've heard, Scotty G say this. The Bayou is still my favorite like lounge location between the two ships. Obviously, I don't have quite the extensive ship category that he does to compare it to, but there was something about the Bayou on the Wish, like where I don't know, it was just so chill and calm, and you could get beignets and whatever that
Mhm.
I loved sitting there and watching live music and doing all that. But none of these places are anything anything to not love about them. That's for sure. Especially the Haunted Mansion. I mean, that was one of those places that you could go in. I feel like 30, 45 minutes at a time. I don't think you could sit there for like 2 or 3 hours because it's just like so much going on that you couldn't have
Yeah.
a conversation. But
And I don't think they want you to. I think they want you kind of in and out, like, a drink, maybe 2 drinks, and, again, it's a 7-night cruise. I think they
yeah,
want you to drop in, have a drink. We'll see you tomorrow night. Like, come in
exactly.
again. Yeah, I think that's kind of the goal of that place. Because actually, I don't even know if there's a time limit anymore, but initially there was.
Yeah,
They
I don't think I saw any signs with time limits, but I
yeah,
remember the discussion saying that
yeah.
they were early.
Yeah, it is so cool. I mean, like if you're any kind of Haunted Mansion fan, though, you got to go in there a few times and just check it out.
Hmm.
Order a different, because some of the drinks have activations and trinkets, and I mean they took, because they took the Star Wars. It's in the spot that occupies the Star Wars lounge
Yep.
on the Wish, and just took it to the next level. I
Yeah,
mean,
we never went on the Star Wars one on the Wish. So, but I mean, yeah, the theme, the theming in there, the moving paintings.
mhm,
Even the kids wanted to go in multiple times because we would talk about things that kind of stood out to us while we were in there, and one would be like, "Oh, I didn't see that." Like, I missed the bonefish last time. Let's go look at, let's go check those out. And they definitely suckered us in. I bought like what was it, the Maritimer souvenir thing with one of the drinks that I got.
that guy back there. Well, you can't see him, but he's a little like a hitchhiking
Oh
ghost.
yeah,
Hatbox Ghost.
Hatbox
I got
Ghost. Yeah,
him. Yeah, I got him, and I got one of the trading cards with the chilling challenge or chiller. I don't even know what it was. We were having a good time. I was with Ben. He's like, buy
yeah.
it. I'm like, oh, well, here, we'll buy it. So we did. It was really good. It was like a margarita.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Disney money's like Monopoly money, right?
oh,
It's just like
when you're on a cruise by
play
yourself,
it.
I know that was bad. I was like, we're only here for 3 days, dude. I got to buy it all. So yeah,
Yeah,
it was not good. What I also enjoyed Periscope Pub. I thought that was kind of underrated too, because
I
Haunted
agree.
Mansion back then got all the pub. Everybody's talking about Haunted Mansion. I like Periscope because here's the thing about Periscope, real quick. We went in there the first time, they're showing it off in this, pre-launch kind of little preview cruise. And like they're showing all the theming, right? With like the squid going by on the ceiling and
Yeah,
all this stuff in the portholes. And I kept telling Ben, I'm like, dude, I don't know where I'm gonna watch, because during football season, it was December. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to watch football on this ship tonight, because there's no sports bar, and there's like the fantasy has 687, or the dream has 687. The fantasy has O'Gills. So does the man. I'm like, dude, there's no sports bar on this ship. Like Keg and Compass was on the Wish. I'm like, they didn't put a sports bar on this ship. I'm like, dude, I am in trouble. And then we walked back in there that night. Boom! All those walls had TVs on them. I'm like, how did I not? They hit them so well. It was
yeah.
like incredible. It's a great place to watch live sports.
On our first full day, we did the Imagineer and Disney ships tour, which took us through all the pubs. While they weren't busy, it was in the morning, and they were pointing out all the little, the meaning of some of the things in there. And there's so much information, like you can't remember all of it, but I just remember it's just, again, shows the level of detail that they go in to make everything so special and significant. And I could go on that ship, probably 4 more times and do the same tour over and over, and it'd take me that long to really pick up on all these things. But we did hang out in there one afternoon for an hour or so. No football season or anything, so it was cricket that was on, which
Yes, I love
um,
that kind of stuff, because I don't know what's going on, but it makes the
yeah.
cruise kind of fun.
As I'm watching the scores change, I'm like, how'd that happen? I have no idea what's going on. But
Same.
Jen and I were enjoying ourselves, having a couple drinks, and loving life.
Yeah, I remember Scott and I one time. I remember we're sitting in. So the fantasy has, or the dream, I think it was, has a pub called 687, and in this pub they have recliners, like leather recliners. You can sit in front of these gigantic big screen TVs. It's awesome. It's like sitting in your living room. It's great. And they have international ESPN, right? They don't have regular ESPN. And we were watching, I'll never forget this. We were watching an international walking championship. Like it was a race walking championship. So we're sitting there getting drinks in leather, like easy chairs. Like you pull the arm and like a Barca lounger and your feet are up. And we're like in a bar in leather easy chairs watching an international speed walking competition, like getting into it. I'm like, what are we doing? It's like a Tuesday morning. Drinking, watching in easy chairs, watching like an international speed walking competition. I was like, this is the best. I was like, we're in our best life right now. But this is the most random Tuesday morning in the history of the world. It was great. I still remember it was like 10 years ago.
That's what makes it perfect. There's nothing you'd ever do at home, right?
Exactly. I was like, this is great. Then we played some kind of international soccer. I don't even remember, some weird soccer game where you set up these little soccer people and you had to, I can't remember what it was called. It was awesome. The guy had to teach it to us it was from his country down in South America. Anyway, so there's a cruise director, like adult cruise director guy. But let me ask you too, one other thing I was gonna ask you about. So the Treasure has something that's unique to this ship that I think they're going to move going forward because it's more themed than any of the other ships. And they have these guys named Sage and Coriander. Yes. They're kind of they're like two main characters that carry a storyline throughout the cruise.
Yep.
And they do like some like jungle cruise activities in the grand hall, like in the middle of the cruise. They do a show at the beginning. What did you think of that? Because as a theme park person, I thought it was like next level. What would you think?
I thought it was very well done. We didn't see a lot of the different shows they did, but we actually got to experience. We did. We bought the adventure tea with royalty, which was something that they hosted. They ran, so it was something they held in 1923. And what it was is they had like this. First of all, they put a ton of desserts and drinks in front of us, so that was just heaven. And then they had like this mystical book in it, and the whole point of it was you were trying to help complete a story. So they would open and it'd be a build up, and they'd want you to guess like who they're talking about, and out would come Tiana, as soon as everybody said Tiana, and it's a very cool thing. They did a great job running that. We did see them doing some shows in the main atrium that we'd stop and watch for a little bit, on our way to doing other things, but we never actually just went down and sat and watched it. Which again, I think is one of those things that we probably change or, add to our must do's, a second time on the Treasure.
Mm-hmm.
But even with the 7 days, it felt like, we were choosing this or that, relax or go to do something else. And
it's hard because it is a balance, right? Because they're doing a lot, and what it is, it's this male female team, and they're almost like, it's hard to describe because the other ships don't have anything like this. They're almost kind of like the adult activity host, like kind of role, but they do the show at the beginning, and it's kind of like I call it kind of like a choose your own adventure show. So they're in the main like theater there, the theater, the 2-story theater there called Sarabi. And so but it's kind of like an old, like 30s, kind of 40s jazz kind of vibe, like an Indiana Jones kind of feel. They're doing the show. It's awesome. But then it stops at certain points, and like the audience says, they say, okay, we could do this or that. And like the audience votes, and they it's an improv show basically. And they do whatever the audience picks. But it is hilarious with tons of nods to the theme parks. There's a lot of nods to theme parks in there. So if you're a theme park fan, it's great. And like say with that, they'll do like a jungle cruise kind of show in the grand hall. But what it is, it's not just a show. Like they'll have a bunch of guests get in there and do like physical challenges during the show. You have like
that's the one that we watched some of. We saw them
ropes,
like they had like taped boats on the floor and like ropes and a bunch of people. We watched some of that, and it's hilarious. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's cool that they're trying stuff like that because it gets you involved, and it's like, but it's like a storyline that goes from the very beginning of the cruise, and then it concludes actually the last night of the cruise. All the ships have like the see you real soon get together in the atrium. There's a little bit different because it kind of wraps up the story, and then the characters kind of meet and greet. But it's the Treasure is more themed than any other ships, and it definitely has a storyline that goes for 7 days, like it's not super detailed, but if you watch for it, it's there, which I think they're thinking there.
Yeah.
It's very cool. I like that. So look, you mentioned dining, so let's jump into that because I won't miss
Sure.
out on that. So what we have Marvel, Coco, 1923. So and you also did Palo.
Yes.
So let's get real quick. Let's hit all the restaurants. Well, let's start with your favorite. Which one of your favorites out of the main dining rooms?
Out of the main dining room was food wise 1923, atmosphere Coco.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that the Coco food wasn't good. The Coco food was delicious. I enjoyed it there, but I'm definitely a classic steak, lobster tail, those types of things that you could get those nights in 1923. I loved. I also love walking through that restaurant and checking out all the decor they put in there. The Coco shows were great. The theme of that room, the decorations, everything. That table display or whatever it is from the movie. As soon as you walk in, amazing.
Yeah, with all
Touch
the
there.
candles and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was remarkable, right?
yeah. That was an amazing touch. And I really loved it, and I think I said again in the email to you. I think I'm done with the Marvel stuff. They're leaning into it a little bit too heavy. It was okay the first time I saw it on the Wish. The second show that they added on this with the party thrown by Groot, or Baby Groot and Rocket or whatever was. I don't know. It just doesn't strike a chord with me, I guess. And I like the Marvel movies. At least um, most of them. So I don't know. I feel like they're trying to force Marvel into too many spots these days, and it would have been nice to see them do something else with that space because I know they're doing the same thing on the Destiny too. So
Yeah, I think they're leaning into Marvel even more with the Destiny
yeah,
than the other.
yeah, and I mean I think in that regards them having Black Panther and the atrium, that's awesome, and whatnot. They need to find a way to do something different with the space if they want it to be a Marvel space, but
I'm with
teach
you.
their own, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've never even seen it. I've never seen one Marvel movie. So for somebody that has no idea what's going on, I
Yeah,
have zero, like
yeah.
nothing. And because like in some of the dinners they'll show like Marvel trivia on the screens, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm out because I don't know who anybody is. And but I mean, I'm like, I'll be honest, like when I had dinner in the Marvel restaurant, the treasure, the food was amazing. Like I
Yeah,
love the menu. I thought the
yeah.
food was great. So I had a good time there. And Spider-Man, I think Spider-Man came out. I can't remember who came around, but I was like, cool. But yeah, I'm with you. Like we could explore some other things, but I know there's huge Marvel fans. I get that they're
Yeah,
trying to, but I will say though, you nailed it though with the Coco restaurant. Like when you walk in there, the atmosphere of that, just the environment, like with the how it does. I mean, it almost looks like the Mexico Pavilion at Epcot. Like it's like you're in
yeah.
this little plaza. I
Mhm.
mean, because that's what it's called, like the Plaza del Coco. But you go in there, it's got the string lights everywhere, and then it's got the little main stage in the middle, and the music they play. Like I said, again, ship's moving. You got these people playing guitars, and they're all dressed up, and they're dance. I mean, the dancing's beautiful. The costuming is unreal, and you got this, people bringing you food. I love that. That was just a
It
great thing. It was
And
fun.
the way the lighting's set up too, you actually feel like you're outside watching this stuff
Yeah,
happen too,
yeah,
which I thought was a very nice touch.
very good. Yeah, totally. So now, tell us about your experience with Palo too. 'Cause
Oh,
that's something.
Apollo is probably it might be the best meal I've ever had. It was great. We were so excited to get away for a date night. It wasn't until the day before we left that Jen looked looked at the thing and said to me, "Hey, you know how you bought shorts for Palo?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "You can't wear shorts at Palo."
Oh, dude, I forgot I had to borrow pants one time, so I
Yeah.
feel the pain.
I remember hearing that story and it never clicked, and it never clicked because I bought dress shorts, which is like, no, you got to wear pants. So luckily, we managed to pack a nice pair of jeans for me before we left. But yeah, I mean, we had um, I, I would let me pull this up. Our server was amazing. First of all, he goes, um, he's like, I can give you recommendations, or you can. We're like, what do you recommend? And we literally ordered everything he told us to order, and it was so good. Um, Trying to think, see if I got my notes here for Paulo. No, I don't think I do. But I know we had steak. We had the risotto, which was amazing. We got two different desserts. We had drinks that they brought us over from the bar. I mean, it was so good. Oh, here we go. Our server's name was Nuno. We made sure to give him a call out. But we got caprese and pepperodelle, whatever that is. But then we got the porterhouse steak with a mushroom risotto, which like I said was awesome. The chocolate souffle, I think we
Oh,
shared.
so
Um, it was so good. It was definitely well worth the expense, well worth the extra charge.
yeah, if you go on a Disney cruise and you don't like, I mean, I know like it's hard to, if you're a first time cruiser, sometimes it's hard to get that reservation, but if you
Yeah.
get the opportunity to get it, it's I know it's like $50 or whatever. Just I mean, come on, like you're going on a cruise, try to get it because it is unbelievable. Like you said, I mean, it's always my best, and Pam too, my wife. Like it's always our best meal of the year. I mean, it's just I mean, there's no doubt it's going to be our best meal of the year. There's no
Hmm.
question every year. It's amazing. I mean, the chocolate souffle. We agree. We'd pay $50 just for the chocolate souffle. It's
Yeah,
that
so good.
Oh my
And
god.
the thing is, like almost all of the meals, at least one of us got a delicious steak at. But the steak that we had here at Palo's was, oh my god, it was amazing. It was so good.
Nice. And the service is just over the top too. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
they're just the best of the best.
yeah.
You feel like royalty. It's like I almost feel like nervous. It's like I'm not used to this. So okay, let me ask you too about we got to talk about the itinerary. You guys did the Eastern,
Sure.
which is and I'm guessing it's the same as it's always been. Did you guys have like you sailed out? It's Saturday to Saturday. You sailed out and you had the 2 sea days right off the bat.
Yes. Yep.
That's a Would you? Because I did that this last summer too, and I love that. Like it gives you time to like establish onto like. There's no pressure. You get on the ship on Saturday,
Hmm.
and you know you're not going to get off the ship until Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, maybe that makes other people kind of squirrely. Like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be forever till we get to land. But I loved it because I'm like, oh dude, I don't have any rush to do anything. Like at the sail away party, I'm like, oh, we're sailing away, we can chill. And then I don't like we're not going to get anywhere till Tuesday. I can take my time to go to the Haunted Mansion bar, whatever it is. There's no pressure at all with those first 2 sea days. So, what did you think of like just the idea of the 7 days, how they were laid out?
I loved it, and in all honesty, we needed that early start of just sea days to really get settled because I told Jen I'm going to take care of the check-in, I'll book excursions, I'll do all that stuff. You need to handle these fish extender things and whatever. And so she went into Facebook, like signed us up for a couple groups for fish extenders. And I'm not kidding you, Mike. For like 6 to 8 weeks, we had Amazon boxes coming every day of all this stuff. She went crazy. We packed an entire suitcase of fish extenders and pixie dust stuff that we brought in, rubber ducks to hide around the ship that we brought with us. And she spent probably an hour and a half our first night there, like making sure all that's together and organized and stuff so that we could take Alexis around and putting them all, in people's fish extenders. And so around doing that, we did, in those first couple of sea days, we did that adventure tea with royalty that I mentioned. We did the tour, which was awesome. We did Bibbity Boppity Boutique before the princess tea, and Alexis dressed up as Tiana this time, and which was great because Tiana was part of that whole adventure tea type of thing. Gave us a chance to check out the lounges and the different spaces and kind of get an idea of what we wanted to do. It gave both of the kids a chance to check out those spaces and meet people. Kyle had it in his mind. At 14, I'm not going into a club. I'm just going to go to Hero Zone and I'll meet kids playing basketball and all that stuff.
See, I would have thought the same. You know what? At 14, I thought the exact same thing.
Yeah, and that's
that
what he
Hero
did.
Zone is underrated. That is a
Hmm.
great space on the Wish and the Treasure.
Yeah, it's awesome space, and that's exactly what he did. And those group of friends every once in a while went into the other places, but I really felt like having those first 2 sea days was great for getting acclimated to the ship, and the kids getting to meet people and becoming more comfortable. And so I thought the layout was awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to do that one again. I know Scott's book. I'm pretty sure we're doing it exactly like we're doing the same cruise. We're going to do the Treasure Eastern next summer. As soon as Mallory graduates, I think. I'm 90% there because we fell in love with it last summer on the Fantasy.
Yeah.
And just, oh man, it's because it's beautiful. And I just love the 7 nights and the 3, right off the bat, those sea days. I just told Pam, I was like, this is the way to go. Like, I'm used to like, boom, you get on the ship, sail party. Okay, boom, tomorrow we're going to be at a port. Like, it's like you're rushed. This is the first time like I wasn't rushed. Like I had plenty of time. So let's talk about the port. So you guys did Tortola, St. Thomas.
Tortola, St. Thomas, yeah, and
Castaway?
then Castaway. So Tortola, we did the Beach Express excursion, which was okay. The beach is like the water at the beach was nice, but all the other amenities at that beach were nothing really to get excited about. So we were there for 3 hours. Can't go wrong being able to be in the Caribbean, in the ocean in the Caribbean. So, we enjoyed our time there. St. Thomas, we did Magens Bay. I mean, first of all, a Tortola. I had gotten Kyle to commit to doing the zip lining with me, and then he backed out the day before I booked excursions because he's
Oh,
like,
that's
"I don't think
weird.
I'm gonna like it. I don't
Oh,
like
he would have
heights."
loved it. He would have loved it. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
so
Yeah, he'd have loved it.
so we all stayed together and did the beach trip. St. Thomas, we went to Magens Bay, which is absolutely gorgeous.
Yep.
Kyle and I went snorkeling at a far end because people have said that there were sea turtles over there, and we saw some sea turtles. So we kind of went back and got Jen and Alexis and got them out there, and they got to see a sea turtle. So that was really cool because that was, one of the excursions that, swimming with sea turtles that you had to be 7 or older for that we really wanted to do with Alexis because that was her favorite animal that month, anyways. But she, and just the fact she got to see a live sea turtle. And then as soon as we got done that, we had the last hour we were there was just a complete torrential downpour. So we just kind of like stood under our umbrellas, went in, bought some souvenirs, got some drinks and all that stuff before we headed back to the ship. But I mean, overall, I definitely recommend that excursion to anyone. It was so gorgeous there.
Magens Bay is super popular.
Yeah.
St. Thomas is a great island. I loved it. We found also right by the port, we found a great Mexican restaurant called, I think it was Agave or something like that. Oh, so good. Oh,
yeah. We didn't stick around looking at the port area too much when we got back there because it was raining the entire time we got back. So we just kind of walked back on the ship. We spent more time around the port of Tortola, which, the port there was nicer than the beach we went to. But overall, St. Thomas is definitely, I feel like, a nicer island.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I've, from talking to other people, sounds like there are definitely other better excursions on Tortola that I think would have made it more enjoyable for us if we had gotten to take those.
Yeah, we did the zip lining in Tortola, and I mean it was a hairy like church van ride up the mountain to get there and back. But once you got past that, it was okay. Like I didn't know that van was gonna make it. I've been on a couple of those excursions in my life on cruises, like in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't give you the best vehicles to get around on all these excursions. But I think that's like just to scare the Americans, maybe. I don't know.
On our way to the beach on Tortola, there was a loud noise, and the woman who was sitting at the end of the row is like yells up to the driver, "Is it supposed to do that?" He's like, "We're okay, we're okay," and he just kept going.
I always smell like. Are the brakes supposed to be smelling like that's metal? I think like it's not even because I mean like we're going up hills and downhill. I mean around here like it'd be dangerous, but I guess it's not here. I'm just like they do this every day, so can't stop them now. We're gonna make it to the. I see the pole up there. That's where it goes. I guess we're ziplining. So yeah, but I mean it was fun and we had a good time. So you guys have been to Castaway though. So how'd you take advantage of Castaway?
Unfortunately, we didn't have a great weather day at Castaway either. We got off the ship and Kyle and I went and did the 5K. And by the time I was halfway through the 5K, the rain started. And it came, by the time I was done the 5K, it was downpouring. So we all kind of huddled together and then it lightened up for a little bit and then it came again. We hung around long enough basically to get lunch. And then it didn't look like the weather was going to let up. And we ended up just going back to the ship. So we really didn't get to do. And unfortunately, last time we went to Castaway with the Wish, it was super windy that day. So there's like a lot of the stuff in the water wasn't really enjoyable to do either. So the one thing I'm really disappointed is I've been to Castaway twice and I still haven't snorkeled in the reef area, and seen all the sculptures and stuff that they have there. So we're definitely got to go back and get that in at some point. But I mean, from the last time we were Castaway until, Castaway's gorgeous. It's, they did an excellent job there like they do with almost everything else. Unfortunately on this trip, we just didn't get to enjoy it as much because, we only stayed on the island for probably 2.5, 3 hours before, the weather just got to us.
Yeah, that's bad luck. So we have a few minutes left. So let me ask you this kind of, because we kind of hit the major things, the entertainment, the kids clubs, dining, the ports of call. Like what other stories would you have from the treasure that like you want to throw out there? I mean, because every cruise has a million stories. I mean, did you guys do anything like tastings, because you get mentioned stuff you do with the kids, or
Yeah.
any funny things happen like late at night on the ship, or a movie you caught on funnel vision, or just anything like that, the aqueduct, stuff like that.
Um, we definitely hit the aqueduct a couple times. That was a lot of fun. During this cruise is when the Marvel Thunderbolts movie got released, so I got to watch that in the Walt Disney Theater, which was a very cool experience. It's probably not a movie I would have gone and seen in the movie theater, so having the chance to see it there, in that release day, I think was a very nice perk. We geared a lot of stuff towards the kids. We signed up for the free princess gathering that they do in the
Mhm.
atrium. So Jen and Alexis went around and got all their pictures with all the princesses that were on there, which was very cool. We hit jambos a couple of times. Not that there was any shortage of desserts. Between the ice cream and it took me until I think the fourth day of the cruise to realize that they changed one of the flavors of ice creams every day. So I felt like
Yeah.
a big
Yeah.
fool.
Well, I mean,
Um,
it gives you a reason to go back. I mean, you missed 3 days. Exactly.
yeah, exactly. But I looked, I'm like, wait, you have coffee and chocolate in the same thing? Yes, please. Like, and then the next one was like blueberry, and I'm like, I don't really have any interest in that. But
Yeah, I'm not.
um, yeah, it was just a whole lot of checking everything out and having a good time. Um, no, I don't think there's any other real big stories that kind of jump out.
So let me ask you this. Okay,
Sure.
so you've been on the Wish and the Treasure, and you're all in here on in the Disney stuff, and
hmm
you're in the know. Outside of those two ships in that class, so let's throw out the Destiny too. Like,
hmm
what itinerary or what ship would you pick next if you? I don't even know if you have one on the books, but if you don't, or if you
We have our
do,
placeholder, but we don't have one on the books yet.
what is like maybe piquing your curiosity if you had to pick one right now? Like
I
what?
know my wife said she's going to listen to this later, so she's probably going to look at me and be like, "We didn't agree to that." But
I know.
I know
Well,
that
I'm trying to call it a little spice here with the show. I was curious.
I know that before Kyle graduates high school, like he's always wanted to go to Alaska, so I think we're going to try and do one of the Alaska itineraries.
Mhm.
Um, that would be very big. I don't think that'll be our next one. I think we'll probably stick in the Caribbean and do either the Western Caribbean or we um, possibly the one that goes to both Lookout and Castaway is an option. But I know we've started looking at some of the ones that go out of Fort Lauderdale and stuff like that too. So I think we're probably not going to use our placeholder until we get closer to that two-year point, because next year is Jen and I's 10th anniversary. So we're like doing something non-Disney and going away to some all-inclusive place. So we have time to really figure that out. But I don't think we're going to do the Destiny. Just because nothing that not that we have bad ideas or bad thoughts about the ship, but because we want to try some of the older ships and some of
Yeah.
the smaller ships and kind of get that different feel.
I agree. I mean, considering you've only taken 2 Disney cruises, that I think you need to try a different class. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, there's nothing wrong with the Treasure and the Wish. I mean,
hmm
you've done the big dogs, but I would love, because you've really done both of those cruises well. You've done the good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done them perfectly. Like you've done Palo, you've done the Royal Gathering, you've done the Tea, you've done Bibbity Bobbity. Like you've done it all on those cruises just right. I would love, love, love to sit down and talk to you after like a cruise on the Dream and a
Yeah.
cruise on the Wonder or the Magic, and then be able to compare apples to oranges, because it's really hard to make the comparison Wish to Treasure, because it's just aesthetics that are basically different, and
Yeah.
themes and stuff
Exactly.
like that. But yeah, it's super interesting, and I love these stories, and I think it's going to be super helpful for the folks that are getting ready to sail the Treasure. And Scotty G's probably already burned through this thing 3 times because he's excited to get on this ship. I know that. So any final thoughts? Anything before we go? Like any last memories from the cruise that's going to stick with you? Because I mean, every trip has that moment. You gave that moment from Tink giving the wave there of Main Street. Anything from this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say again, it's probably watching Alexa sing along to the Moana play. Like she
Yeah.
was just so into it. I, she could have, if it was a movie, it would have been one of those silhouettes where like all of the people around her just got blurry and turned to light, and she was just sitting there in an empty theater, belting out. I feel like that's what it would have been like, and it was amazing, and it's we got we got back, one of the young ladies that Kyle met there lives in Canada, and we got back, and um just a fun story real quick. And he's like, yeah, I can't remember what her name was, but I called her on my way home from school. I'm like, what? Didn't you say she lives in Western Canada? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, dude, that's international. That's going to cost so much money, man. Like, and just had him going. I'm like, you only called her, right? Though you didn't FaceTime her. He's like, no, we FaceTimed. We FaceTime all the time. I'm like, dude, it's going to cost like $300. And I had him going for a while, panicking that like he was going to have to pull money out of his bank account to pay for these phone calls before I let him off the hook. But
Do kids know what long distance is anymore? They don't know what long
no,
distance is.
they
Come
don't
on,
know
man.
anything.
They have no clue, right? I
No.
mean, that was the thing though. Like, I remember waiting until after 9 o'clock to like use my cell phone. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the thing back then.
Oh yeah. And watching your minutes or whatever.
Yeah,
when they first came
exactly.
out.
I mean, like you could only send so many text messages. Holy cow,
Um,
life would be in trouble.
But
Yeah.
we'll say we ended the trip at Coronado, the night at Coronado, staying in the tower, which was the dig site there. Pool area was so awesome.
Yes,
It was a very busy weekend with cheerleaders and dance teams and whatnot. So we went back and spent some more time at Disney Springs and everything before we flew out the next day. But yeah, I mean, it was a great trip. Again, like even leaving the Disney bubble to go on a cruise, you're still in the Disney bubble. Like when you're on that bus, and they're showing you the trivia and you're on the bus back and whatnot, it's all just, sucks you in and is great.
When you're going on a cruise, you are technically leaving the Disney bubble, but you're headed to the ultimate Disney bubble. So it's fine.
Yeah.
That's what I say. Like you're
It's like
going.
one of the little bubbles breaks off the big bubbles and floats over.
I will take leaving the Disney bubble to get on the bus to go over to Port Canaveral any day of the week, because there's I swear, like I call that road like Anticipation Alley, right? Because like I'm just like, are we ever gonna get there? Because you're heading east. You're just like, where's the water? And I know it's like a 45-minute ride. I've done it a bunch of times. Like, I mean, like when are we going to go over the first bridge and then the second bridge? We'll see the funnels. Like once I see the funnels, I'm like losing it. I'm like, I'm going to be on that ship in just a minute and be eating crab legs or shrimp. Look out, shrimp. You're going to be in my belly soon. Cruising is next level. If you ever tried Disney cruise, listening out there today, just give one a shot. I mean, some people are like, I like theme parks, and I don't think cruising's for me.
Just
if you're a theme park fan, you'd like it. It's really nice. So, Derek, thanks for taking the time. What a great way to start a week here on the show, and wish you the best up in New Hampshire. And I appreciate you taking the time again. Thanks for coming.
Thanks. I appreciate you having me. Looking forward to a lot more of these hearing people's stories, and probably get in touch with you again after our next trip at Christmas.
All right, let's do it. All right, don't forget, today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details this week, and if you want to book a Disney cruise, now is the time. You get a free onboard credit with that booking, and it costs you the exact same of booking directly with Disney Cruise Line. So check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. You can support the show with each and every purchase, so we appreciate that very, very much. And you can support the show on Patreon. $5 a month is all it costs. And for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. Thank you to everybody who supports us over there already. We appreciate that very much. Again, patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. You can follow the show on Instagram, Twitter, or Threads at Be Our Guest Mike. You can also follow the show on Facebook. You search for the Be Our Guest Podcast. We have over 11,000 fans over there, and that's a great way to get notifications when we go live. So join us over there. And the place to hang out, where it's like a 24/7 listener question show, or just a hangout. It's like our kind of corner pub. It's like our Cheers. It's called the Clubhouse. And what it is, it's our Discord server. It's where about 1,500 fans of the show hang out. It's a live chat. It's a message board, but it's like our own little social media corner with no ads, no nonsense, nobody spamming anybody. It's just a ton of fun. Come on over. We have channels for the resorts, the theme parks, Disneyland. We have one called The Living Room. We have a sports channel. It's just a ton of fun. So it's all free for everybody. Just come on over, just be a Disney fan and come hang out with us. It's beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. We'd love to see it this week. And finally, we'll have a live call-in show this Sunday night, 7:00 Eastern, 6:00 Central. Scotty G joins me. We'll open up the phone lines. Hopefully they'll work well. We'll talk Disney. Give us a call. You guys run the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. So join us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or Twitch. I know it's x.com, but I'm old. I forget. All right. So for Derek up in New Hampshire, I'm Mike here in Missouri, wishing you guys a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Good stuff. Now I just want to go on the treasure so bad. The Eastern Caribbean is just so chill. It is so chill.
It's beautiful.
I might have to, because I have a placeholder sitting there too from the Magic a couple weeks ago. I got to put down. I might just move it tonight. I might just do that.
Do it. Jump on it.
I mean, why not? I can always move it. I think I'm moving.
Yeah, exactly.
I talk to my wife. I'm gonna figure out, because Mallory graduates. So I got to figure out that window. That's a good thing about 7-night cruises. You don't have a ton of dates. If it has to be in the summer, it'll have to be before she goes away to college. After graduations, there's only and if it's an Eastern, it's only every other.
Yep.
I've only 2 or 3 to pick from.
Yeah.
Really, honest to God. So
really narrows down the decision making for you. Makes it easy.
Derek, you got me. Look, you're going to cost me a lot of money.
But just don't tell Pam that. I don't need it.
No, I won't throw out to dry. I already got you on this show, apparently, it sounds like. So, eye for an eye, it sounds like here. All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on the show. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it, Mike.
All right. I'll see you if you need anything. Give me a yell. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.